What's happening, Andy here? I'm joined today by Bob Barbera. Bob is with Canon USA. How are you today, Bob?
Very good, Andy. Thank you for having me here today.
Thank you very much for joining us. So just some background, Bob, you are, I believe you work at a headquarters, so you would be in the Melville, New York area, so you're a bit east of me. Looks like you're working from home just like everyone else. What's the situation where you are? Are you back at the office at all? Is it a mix? What's Canon doing right now?
Canon's opened up the headquarter office 2 days a week as a voluntary type situation. So if you want to go into the office, you can, but it's not mandatory. So most of us are working from home still and going in occasionally.
Okay, well, good to hear that people are a little bit getting back to it. I know with you and the area that you cover and work in, you must be dying to get back just because big iron and you're working from home, you can't put your hands on it or see it or get too close of it. But I wanted to bring you on and talk about some of the research that you guys have been doing. Busy year for Canon, right? In a lot of different areas, but your focus, commercial print, implant. You guys did a couple of studies. So why don't you tell us about the one that you came out with in August? You had one that was with, I believe that was with print buyers, and then you did another one we'll talk about after.
Sure. Yeah, we did. The last 2 years, we've contracted with NAPCO Research to conduct these research studies. And in 2020, the research study was with print buyers. And there was over 240 print buyers that took part in the study. So I think a great cross section of print buyers. It was interesting. The average experience was 65% of them had over 6 years of buying or influencing print. I think one of the tough things is what do you call these people? Print buyers, tended to be an older legacy term, but they're really vast people in organization, marketing. People, purchasing people, right? There's a lot of people in organizations that are buying and influencing print.
So what kind of companies were these? Were they big companies, small companies, SMBs, enterprise?
Yeah, it was a cross section of different organizations. So they had a really good sample of organizations that they reached out to for the survey and buying, pretty wide range of, print applications, office products, wide format, direct mail. So it's a real good sample of people that were buying and influencing printed communications, whether internally through their implants or externally with print providers. And there was some really, I think, interesting, eye-opening, stuff that came out of this survey that we've been found interesting and really trying to help educate printers on, so they can better help target and call on and support their printers.
So give me a couple of these. What kind of things jumped out at you that you were surprised about that, going in? That's, we used to do a lot of research here. We haven't really done that in quite some time since we've moved into this more of a media role. But I always used to love, I used to hate doing the research, but the results were always fascinating. You always find a couple of things. So what are some of
a couple of golden nuggets? So, one of the things that you hear right in the production space from printers is, the challenge that they have with print buyers and really understanding print and the print process. But the print buyers felt that they were extremely knowledgeable on the printing process, which was a surprise. So 67% felt that they were very, knowledgeable and familiar with the printing process that they're using and outsourcing to. 2/3 of them select the actual print process. So they might say, I want to have this printed digitally, or I might want to have it printed offset. I've been in the digital printing world for, the color side for many years, and have really, seen the market evolve, right? So when it started, it was offset, and you had challenge with print buyers and end customers and, wanting to utilize digital printing. So I was really pleasantly surprised to see how well digital printing is now the mainstream. So 88% of them said that they're, buying and very, very comfortable with digital printing, well, only like 40% are buying and feel very comfortable with offset printing. So it's really, done almost a complete turnaround from, the early days of digital color printing.
Well, nobody wanted to give up the offset because it was, well, let's face it, at the beginning, it had better image quality, right? And we're at that point where it's really getting hard to tell. So, and then there's so many advantages that you add to it when you get into digital versus offset. So
the other piece with that was, which I was also surprised about, was that 70% look at the brand of equipment that the print provider is using, and that's part of their, decision-making process of the print providers that they go to. Now, for years, a lot of the consultants, the industry thought process with printers was, don't be promoting your equipment. It's really about your solutions, right? So that's been kind of the trend and the message to print providers is, talk about the solutions, and obviously that's important. But it was really surprised to see the impact that the brand has on how they select their print providers.
That's very surprising. I could see resellers saying that, but to hear that coming from end users, that is surprising. So with that, you guys were going to come out with a few collaterals, and I don't know what's the status of that. Did you come out with anything after that? Did you publish?
Yeah, so we published 5 different white papers. So each white paper is on a different, part of the research. All 5 of those white papers have all been published. They're on the Canon USA website. So if someone goes to the production printing area and looks at one of our products, they'll see up on top, Print in the Eye of the Buyer or Digital Printing 5.0 white papers. Digital Printing 5.0 was the study that we published in 2019 with over 400 print providers giving, feedback on their business, their operation. About 230 printers and about 170 implants took part in that study.
So just to finish off the end user study, so I will work with you guys and hopefully get some links to some of these collaterals that you published as a result. But the second research that we mentioned actually was prior to the research we just discussed. So 400 plus, is it commercial printers, implants, people who use the big stuff, right? So
Correct.
Okay, so what did you ask them? What were you looking to find out? And then what'd you learn?
That survey was titled Digital Printing 5.0, right? So kind of the Industry 4.0, we kind of use that as kind of the, the metaphor of, where their business is, how are they retooling their business to increase automation, to increase productivity, streamline operation, leverage data, leverage cloud computing. So we kind of touched on, a little bit the state of their operations and where they were. So some great insight, there. And, with the print buyer piece, I think one of the important things for printers, I did a lot of consulting in the past with printers, and, they're always interested to learn more about how to improve their business, but really what their customers are thinking is really gets them more excited. They don't really have that insight. So that was part of the goal of the Print in the Eye of the Buyer, was to help them understand, their end customer needs and where their end customers are going and what they're looking for. So
now, are either of these studies, are they ongoing, or was this just a, hey, let's do this and find something out?
So that's an interesting question. So they were, a one-off study, but we've already started our 2021 study with NAPCO research. And we're going to, do it as a little bit of follow-up. So the 2021 study is going to actually be towards both printers and then a study to the print buyers. So actually be a combined study with both audiences and trying to understand, obviously, the impact that 2020 has had on them.
That's where I was going.
How that's changing, their customer communications experience, right? So, one of the things from both studies was around job submission, right? So, the print buyers say we prefer print providers that have online job submission. But when you look at the printer study, only about 20% of their work is coming through online storefronts. 70% is still coming from emails, file uploads. So what's that disconnect? And then what has 2020 done to that, right? With, how the work environment has changed and how they're interacting with their customers.
I would love to see side-by-side job submissions just to see what the impact of 2020 was versus 19. I would think that number skyrocketed, right? Although, some of the people, the systems they were using were kind of antiquated and they could still use them whether they were at home or somewhere else. Maybe it didn't push them along, but just, such a change to our way of working, and just the reason people were buying products this year, especially in production. It should be fascinating to see what you find out when you start doing follow-up research on, what are criteria, why are people buying, what are they doing to push decisions, and I mean, you guys are in the middle of selling cycles, and this isn't something you just walk in and say, hey, your lease is up, you want a new one. This is something you start talking about 6, 8, 12 months out, right? So you had conversations for equipment, for hardware, software, that was going on well before the pandemic. I'm sure some of it, pumped the brakes on it, but just the change that your sales force has had to deal with, while still trying to help these customers who are still buying. I've talked to you and several other, virtually all your competitors. I mean, nobody's standing still. Everybody's still selling, right? You guys, I guarantee you have sold plenty of image presses this year, not as many as you wanted to, but plenty of the Canon Solutions products and all sorts of workflow. Tell me about selling it right now. What's it been like for your people to sell something at that level where you can't bring people into your demo facility, which is phenomenal. I've been to it in Melville many times. How are you guys doing this right now?
So I guess like most organizations, we had to pivot, and we can't maybe bring people into the Melville, but how do we bring Melville to them? So one of the things that we quickly developed is what we call Production Live, which is a whole remote demonstration system that we can support our channels in demonstrating our products to the customers, and we set that up in our regional centers as well. Many of our channels also obviously have set up remote demonstration capabilities, and the feedback from customers have really been very, very positive on it, right? They say this is actually even better, it's more efficient. I'm talking with the subject matter experts, so the feedback's been real positive. And I think the other thing that kind of real great takeaway is as we launch new products, we launched the Image Press C10010 VP in September, and we use that Production Live system to launch to our channels. So in a matter of an hour or two, we're having hundreds of salespeople to see, hear, and understand that product in kind of more of a live demonstration view versus a PowerPoint or one of our salespeople going out to the channel and trying to present or educate it. So it really helped us accelerate the launch, get it out there a lot faster too.
It's amazing, right? I mean, when you sit there and you think about it, you think, how are we going to do this? And then at the end, you look back and you say, that actually, went a little better than maybe we thought it would. And there's a lot of things that I think that we're finding right now in all of our collective businesses where, it's just, well, that we were better prepared for that than we thought we were. So this was great. The research sounds fascinating. I really hope you guys do continue it. I look forward to seeing the next version. I'm going to guess it'll come out sometime maybe this summer based on when the last one.
We're targeting the first white paper in April, and I look forward to coming back and maybe sharing some of that insight with you.
Yes, we would love to have you back once that's out. Why don't we talk about having you back on, and then we'll discuss what we learned from this next one. But in the meantime, I will work with your team and try to get those links to the reports that you did already, and we'll share those out. And you stay safe. I tell everyone at Canon, I say hi. I miss coming down there and visiting you guys and bugging you all. But I'm glad we can catch up like this. And I look forward to talking to you down the road. Thanks, Bob.
All right. Well, thanks again for the opportunity.
Take care. Bye-bye.